What is going on, guys? Welcome back to our Everquest adventures. Today we are doing something different. I've mostly played on the Enchanter. Now I've made up a Bard. Bards are super fun, very versatile, a lot like an Enchanter, but they have a lot of other things, but they have a lot of the same tools, at least on like a smaller level than Enchanters, so we can do a lot of the same stuff. And my plan is to take this Bard and do some dungeon crawls, much like we did with Wrecked You and Charmed You, using the tools that bards have to be able to do things that most people aren't. Now, in this video, I want to show you guys how we are swarm kiting. Now, swarm kiting is pretty much going out using the tools a bard has with their super speed and their area effect dots and their damage spells that they can burn down 25 mobs in a single pull. And that's our limit that we can hit with a single area effect right now on the green server is 25. So we can go out and pull 25 mobs and stay just out of range of them being able to hit us, but our dot being able to hit them. So we're just kind of burning them down, swarm kiting them by running in circles the whole time as we're killing them over a slow-paced period. Now, this is the fastest way that you can level in the game. I was literally like level 14 yesterday morning or the day before, the evening before, and I'm 21 right now, halfway through 21. Gonna definitely hit 23, maybe 24 tonight with only maybe like 2 hours more of play. And it's just an incredible way to level up because you can do this on things that are conning white or yellow or some low reds, as long as they're not resisting your dots, then you are going to be able to really make it effective. Now, what we need for this is, the cool thing with a bard is you don't really need much gear. I mean, I have some good gear pieces that I have in there. I just had extra on my Enchanter, and I passed them over. A thick banded belt, seahorse scale cloak, hero bracers. We got some other stuff. So you can see our stats are kind of right there. But the great thing about this is you do not need gear to make this happen. The only thing you really want to have is your instruments. One, you want to have a drum, the hand drum. This is just bought from a vendor at any bard guild. This is going to pretty much double the effect of what your song will do if you have an instrument played. Now, every song is going to have different instruments. There's 5 different ways to play the music. You have drums. You've got the, string instrument. I have the lute of the Gypsy Princess. We've got the horn, which is the brass instruments, and we have the wind instruments. And you also have your singing if you're not holding an instrument. So those are the only equipment you really need to be able to do this. You could have this guy naked running around, and you'd be able to kill these guys just as effective. Now, the higher dexterity is, the more likely your songs won't fizzle or they won't miss a note, and you don't have to recast. So that is effective to have that above 100, but you can typically do that with just your starting stats anyways. So let's go ahead and do a swarm kite here. Now, like I said, we have a max of 25 mobs that we can pick up and hit in one run. I'm going to go out and I'm going to grab as many mobs as I possibly can. Now, I'm over level 18. At level 18, we get a good dot that's called Dinan's Disruptive Discord. Now, this is when things get a little bit easier for you. We're running circles and we're casting our speed spell and we're casting our dot, and we have to stay in range for our dot to hit. Now, this one has a range of 35. It's not listed here, but in the wiki, you can see it has a range of 35. Before level 18, your dot has a range of 30. So I started practicing. This was my first time I've ever done swarm kiting just yesterday. But at level 14 is when I started. So I had to keep very tight circles, and it was very risky. At 18, it's a little bit more effective. It's a brass spell, so we have our horn that we'll be using. We want to have that in there when we're casting that because that will double our damage on that. But it has a range of 35. So 5 difference isn't very much, but it makes a huge difference when you're doing this swarm kiting. So I thought it was really great that I actually started at 14 because I got to learn how to do it with the smaller dot, with the one that doesn't have as much range. When I got this at 18, it was a piece of cake to kind of make it go. Now, if you have lag or latency issues or just maybe a server click happens, you're going to die. When we grab 25 mobs and you're running around, you're going to die if you get hit pretty much once. So We want to try and avoid that as much as possible, and it's a very high risk, high reward system here. I mean, you're going to die definitely doing this, but you're going to be able to get 1, 2, 3 bubbles, 40 to 60% in a single pull. Right now, I'm at the higher level range I'm in East Corona right now, so we're probably going to get about a bubble, 20% per pull. We got these guys are high greens. I could pull them. Gorge hounds are what I'm kind of going for, but you can see here's someone else is swarming right here, it looks like. So these gorge hounds here that they're pulling, that's typically what I like to go for in this zone. To make it easier for you, try and grab enemies that are all the same size. Because you have a big enemy like the carrion spider there compared to the gorge, the hound. The spider has a different hitbox than the hound. So you're going to have to maybe be closer to the mobs to be able to hit the spider or vice versa. And it's going to throw off, you might not hit all the mobs when you're doing your circle or whatnot. The other thing is that these things have different speeds. The gorge hounds are a little bit faster, as you can see them chasing, than the lions, the spiders. Those look like they might be snared a little bit. But the gorge hounds are much faster than the snakes for sure. So if I'm pulling the hounds and the snakes in one pull, typically the hounds will die first because they're on the front of the pack getting hit by the dot, where the snakes are not getting hit because they're kind of lagging behind. So that's just kind of information you should know when thinking. These guys are definitely just getting power leveled over here, it looks like. So our ability to grab as many mobs we want might not be. I'm going to have to come back and just do that recording later. But we're going to pretty much run around, again, grab 15 to 25 mobs. As you can see out here, whatever zone you're in, we like flat spaces. If you're hills and mountains and stuff, you're going to fall and hurt yourself, and it's tough. You got to keep it tight. You want to make sure that everything's going. We have auto run going at all times pretty much. We're strafing the move because when you're strafing, you're moving a little bit quicker. And then also, if you have a mob on your back and you're running straight away, they have a longer attack range. So they can hit you from a farther distance than if you're running at a strafe when your side's kind of to them. So that's just something to keep in mind. And just as we're going, you can see these circles I'd be doing. It looks like all our mobs are pretty much taken. There's 3 groups out here, and it's pretty packed right now. So what we're gonna do is I'll come back and record an actual pull and walking through that here. But I'm glad I touched on all those opening pieces for us, just so you understand what a swarm kite is, what we're planning on doing with the bard, and all that good stuff. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick pull here. We'll just kind of grab anything we can that's gonna give us experience. Gorge hounds are our number 1, so you can see I'm speeding around, keeping a little distance, and I'll throw out my direct damage. I can also body pull where I get a little close. I'm keeping count in my head. That's 1. Switching between our speed spell and that damage spell. If I get hit or anything too, I'll do my heal song in between there. So that's 2. And while I'm doing this, I have my drums because that is what the speed cellos uses, the drum. So it's going to speed me up more than anything else. Now we could grab some of these snakes. That's too low. If we have one that's a high green, we'll grab some griffons. Now these guys are slower than my hounds, so we're gonna have to do a little bit longer pull than usual. So he just hit me. That's okay though. Sometimes they will stun you, and you'll have the pack kind of run up on you. If you're lucky, you'll be okay. Here's a high green one. Typically, you'll be okay in that situation. If you do get hit while you're doing your circle killing later on, you're pretty much almost guaranteed dead. It's tough to get out of there. They come just 25 mobs hitting you in one swoop. Makes it rough. Now I'm doing circles. As I'm running around, I'm kind of swinging it with the strafe button. You can always look behind you with the Control T. You can see what's behind me. We got like 4, maybe 5 mobs. Silver Mist, those are too low. War Dogs. We're looking for Gorge Hounds, Dark Stalkers. Griffons are okay. Werewolves are too low. So as I said, I need to move to like South Corona very quickly. I started at level 14, and I was in North Corona doing Willow Wisps. They were really good for experience as well as The light stones they drop, you can have a quest there that you can turn in, made it much quicker, even leveling. And then I came here at 15, and I was doing mostly the carrion spiders and these chasm crawlers, the snakes. And then the gorge hounds as I got like 16, 17. Once I got 18, everything was pretty much game. So a lot of mobs are not up. There's typically way more mobs here. We just have so many groups pulling right now. That's why I'm grabbing all the randoms. I would typically try and keep it with one type of creature. And these are only high green, so it's not like they're going to be our best experience, but they'll still be good. Oops, he just got me, stunned me, I'm stuck. It's okay. Recast. We had enough lead on everyone, it wasn't a problem. We can also do crag spiders. Now the great thing about spiders is that they drop a ton of spider silk here. This is where I always come and farm spider silk when I'm trying to do tailoring and stuff. So I suggest if you're fighting here, have a large sewing kit. When you you kill one, you might get like 4 or 5 to 6 spider silks, and then you make your silk swatches, and you can sell them or use them, or whatever it may be. Also helps save space since silk is not stackable right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and weave in our heal spell since we've got the poison. With so many groups too, you want to be careful no one's picking off your mobs. That can happen. I think we only got like 5. So typically the longest part of the pull is finding 25 mobs. It'll take 5 to 10 minutes of running around. Like right now it's going to take longer just because there's not many mobs. There's usually going to be like 20 gorge hounds right in this little circle I'm running. So it's typically much easier. Ooh, that was a little too far cut. That's okay though. Didn't stop me. And I'm pretty much just doing a complete circle around the zone in my areas. We're on the north side right now. And we'll take it up by that little passageway straight ahead. That's where we'll go do our kiting. We'll do our killing. So again, just run around. I want to have at least 15 mobs. If you're doing, like I started with only a few mobs at a time, learning the ropes and everything. But if you're doing like 5 mobs, you can do 25. There's no difference between 5 and 25. If you're doing 5, it's kind of a slow kill process for what you're doing. So you can kill the 25 mobs in the same time you can do 5 at really the same risk. I mean, you could get away from 5 mobs if you got stunned or hit in there, but probably not 2 or 3 times. Man, I hate them having to do all the low guys. And these guys are all getting all my dogs. There's another one. Get it, get it, get it. I'm going to say we have 7 guys behind us. I'm not sure if that is accurate or not, but... Oh, he got me. And see, like, it's not only, your moves, it can also be the server. Sometimes the server has the enemies at a different location than it's showing on your screen. So that little glimp, that little bump or whatever, blimp, that is something that can get you killed and get you at least hurt or, stunned or whatnot. So you got to be careful. And like I said, high risk, high reward. You're going to have just a system sometimes not work, and you will have a little lag issue or something. Because when you have 25 mobs behind you too, lag can be an issue. So we could do things like turn off our nameplates, turn off the spell graphics there, the particle effects. That can help with low speeds and stuff. So what do we got behind us? Like 8 maybe 10. Well, I guess just for the example we're showing, we can go ahead and kill them. Now, like I said, we have a different variety of creatures. So you can see they're kind of spread out. The dogs are in the front because they're the fastest. The griffons and the snakes are pretty much the same speed. So they're going to be sticking very closely together. Let me grab this guy as I'm over here. But we're going to try and bring them as close together as we can here. And we do that by going in big circles, and you're going to tighten up your circles as you go. So we got guys all throughout here. I don't want to get in their way or anything. We're going to go ahead and just kind of run back this way. I still got my hand or my drum. I'm going to go ahead and turn and look, let them get closer. Now we're going to do a big circle, a few big circles here to let them bunch up together. But again, like I said, more than likely the gorge hounds are what we're going to be killing first. That's why I like to typically, if I'm doing a big pull, and only grab gorge hounds and dark stalkers, because they will stay the same speed. Here it's going to be a longer kill because we got to kill the front and then we got to kill the back. We have to get really close to them if we want to get all of them with one hit. So I'm doing big circles here and pretty much, cutting it a little closer each time in smaller circles. If I see the mobs cutting straight at me on my right as I'm doing this, then we know that they're not bunched up together. Now I'm going to go ahead and extend it a little bit farther here. I'm going to switch out my brass horn. Now this will slow down your speed because we're not using the percussion instrument anymore. So I'm going to be slower, but this is what doubles the damage on my Denon's Disruptive Discord. So I'm taking it in. I'm pretty much always strafing in and out, doing circles, and then I'll cast my dot and I'll pull it a little closer and then out. So you can see we hit all those guys, the winces. We just keep that circle going. I'm pretty much always strafing out a little bit when I'm doing the speed. And then when I do the... Oh, that was the wrong one. When I do the dot, I'll strafe out for the first half. And the second half, I cut it in a little bit more and then strafe out. So that gets me close enough to be able to hit them. Now, what I liked about the level 14 when I was doing that swarm kiting is, again, the spell has a shorter range. See right there, I didn't cut in, so it didn't hit anything. The spell has a shorter range at 14. So I had to get very close, and you had to pretty much keep them on your screen at the very bottom corner to be able to hit them. Sometimes you're not going to hit them all, like right there. I just hit one, and right there I hit 4. So we're still a little far out, but you can see the Gorge Hound's down to 70% right now. Cut it in a little bit and out. Still only 4. We're still a little wide. And just keep an eye on that bottom right corner. Right there, you see they get too close. You want to definitely strafe out a little bit. If you just see the tip of the enemy, you're typically okay. Now, if we had spiders, they would be much more on the screen. You would see their legs before the dot could even hit them. So that's something to think about as well when you're pulling. Dogs, will-o-wisps are very small, so they're typically not going to be on screen when I'm doing this. The snakes, you can usually maybe see their noses. And the spiders, you'll see the legs. Large creatures, you'll see them a little bit more. So just things to keep in mind. And it definitely takes practice. My first probably 10 tries yesterday, I died. And then you get it down and you just get your pattern. Like right there, I only hit 2, but I didn't strafe in. So as I'm talking, I'm losing my train of thought. And you don't want to strafe too much. If you cut in too much, you're going to get hit and it's going to be all over. So you want to definitely get your pattern. And it's better to be safe than to try and go really heavy duty. Take it small movements at a time. That guy got real close looking. So you can see the Gorge Hounds are dying first, like we said. And then we'll have the second half we got to kill on the backside.